Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about working through the Great Awakening. Now, everything that we've been experiencing here for about the last 18 to 24 months has all been part of a process of a great cleansing taking place upon the planet, which means that there are dividing lines that are happening. So whenever we're looking at the idea of government, authority figures, any particular type of enforcement that is trying to lay down these enforced laws, these conditions, these lockdowns, these violations, as we commonly call them, right, of people's freedoms, of people's rights, and so forth, that is the very thing that's being removed from the face of the earth, right? That is the process. And this is basically done through the nature of a great awakening. It is to, through tragedy, bring about great resolve. That is why we have been experiencing all these things for quite some time now, throughout 2020 and throughout 2021, where we are seeing all these things being pushed upon the people. We're seeing the collective worldwide being affected by all of these very intense shifts relating to lockdowns, mask agendas, vaccination agendas, and so forth. And again, how people react is exactly what we need, right? When you're being angry, you're again part of that fire that is going to completely consume that nature of the old enforcement, of the old, you could say, dark force agendas, right? That's all part of its dissolvement. Now, a lot of people are very concerned for their own safety. They're concerned for their families. They're concerned for their friends. And they say, well, what can we do? How do we get out of this? Well, you guys are already doing the work that you're needing to do right now. The honest thing as well to be aware of is that more people are awake during this time than ever before. Right? Some people feel that there's not enough people awakening. There's more than enough. There are a great deal of people waking up. And there are a great deal of people coming together. Because through great tragedy not only brings about great resolve, but a great unification that's taking place right now. Through this great unification, this is where new intentions are going to forge themselves into the manifestation of a new world. So, those who are corrupt and those who support the corrupt are basically on a sinking ship. It's like the Titanic. It's going up, and then it's going to start plummeting deeper into the ocean with, again, those who are corrupt and those who support the corrupt. Whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously, doesn't matter. If you are supporting the nature of these agendas, if you're supporting suppression, right, and you're not willing to see anything else, it's like I've talked about before. Someone's trying to reach out the hand, and it's being slapped away. They say, no, my government, my authority, agencies are going to take care of me. I don't need your help. Stay with the course. Get your mask on. Get the poke. Get the jab, right? Stay in the social distancing. Obey the lockdowns, right? This is what we need to do. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to sink with the ship with all of the conspirators relating to these agendas. So this is being wiped clean. We're looking at a very strong cleaning that's coming together. It's the dividing lines. It's the old earth shriveling up, acting as that membrane that's peeling off the surface of the true earth together to reveal a new earth. It's like a snake shedding its skin. So working through the Great Awakening involves something very simple. It's bringing yourself up here, right? If we're living in a physical bubble, and this is our entire life, we're going to have difficulty. You're going to be going through a great amount of suffering. You're going to go through a great deal of hardship because you are trying to resolve something at the same level that it's being created as. And you cannot do that through a physical bubble. You cannot do that through a physical barrier. You cannot do that through conditioning. You cannot do that through rationality, right? The rationality that comes is because you're up here. You're up here, you're knowing what your role is, and you're therefore embodying that role, and now you're taking action in the physical. So that's a very different story. But if we're still living in the idea of these very carnal thoughts, very low, dense thoughts, thinking that we need to start an uproar or start something that could be violent or vicious or horrendous or malefic in any particular way, then we're just continuing to live inside that bubble. The whole key to accelerating this process relating to a great awakening is to unite, is to come together, and is to working together with non-compliance. Right? It's the nature of non-compliance. This is why people are walking off the job. This is why people are resigning. And a lot of companies are in that sense very, very dire situations right now because people are working together much more strongly with non-compliance. Some people are also taking legal action, right? And basically creating counterforces to all of these agendas that are taking place. This is the way to go, right? So you're supporting those people that are deciding to resign, that are deciding to walk off the job. You're coordinating together as well and saying that, no, we will decide not to work for this company. We will not be a part of any of these organizations, companies, corporations, etc., until all of this is completely dismantled and burned up and nullified. And so this is where the strength lies. It works together because you are working together, right? It's that harmony. So what you're doing is you're staying up here. You're staying up here in the degree way past the physical bubble. Because here's the thing, and a lot of people come to me about this and saying, Brad, what can I do? Am I going to be okay? Right? And I look into them, and even Spirit is just telling me, you're going to be completely fine because you're not attaching to these physical things. You're working with yourself daily. You're bringing yourself into a higher alignment, a higher frequency, and you're seeing yourself propel. You're seeing yourself prosper, right? You're not personally affected by all these things that are happening because you're not diving into that physical bubble. And I'm seeing this with quite a lot of people, right? They're very much scared out of their own wits, thinking that something's going to happen to them. So, oh my God, if I get food shortages, or if I lose my money situation, if I lose my house, if I lose all my things. And I keep saying, guys, that's not going to happen to you. Oh, Brad, why not? Because you're up here. You're up here. You're working with your love. You're working with spirit. You're working with inspiration. You're working with all the things that are goodness. When you're up here, you're not going to be touched by all this. Okay? This is a very physical, dense thing that is happening. The cleaning is the bottom feeding. Okay? The great cleaning of the world involves the bottom feeders. Okay? The bottom feeders are coming in and they're just basically cleaning up all these things, and then we're seeing retaliation against it, and there's just more bottom feeding. Okay? So the key is stay out of the bottom feeding. Don't go into the idea of violence. Don't go into the idea of heartless aggression. Don't go into the state of heavy manipulation or anything of that nature, because that's putting you with the bottom feeders, right? And the bottom feeders are the cleaners. It's really what they represent. All of this bottom feeding situation is happening because it's the counter forces that represent that bottom feeding taking out the parasites. Right? You don't really want to get involved with that, right? And that's what you're being personally guided to go towards. But what you're doing is you're staying much more in alignment with non-compliance. You're working together as a team. You're working together as a group. You're working together as a unification. And you're getting out of the physical bubble. So there are people who I have talked to who are not affected by this at all. They will not lose anything. There will not be any form of peril for them. They will be completely in a state of harmony because they have clean slated themselves. They've lifted themselves up. It's like I've talked about in the BCR technique, where you're at Mount Olympus and you're above the gods. And you stay there and you're just working, you're using this time to clean yourself out. You're doing the inner cleansing for yourself. And now all of these states of pain, all these states of anguish and corruption and conflict and everything else that represents lack is now being completely cleaned up and resolved within you. And now you go through this entire situation and you're untouchable, right? You do not attract anything regarding a threat to your welfare, a threat to your own living, right? A threat to your situation of finances, a threat to your work. All of that subsides because you're constantly being above all that represents that old blanket representing the bottom feeding situation. Okay, all of this is really affecting is the bottom feeding the bottom line, the bottom level of reality. It's the survival principle. It's the people who basically just spend every single day trying to survive, trying to fight, trying to get over on another person, try to accelerate their greed, their manipulation, their tactics that are very low and base. Okay? That's what's being cleaned up. If you're not living that life at all, you have nothing to be concerned about. You're being well preserved, right? You're being well preserved because you're up here and you're looking at everything down. But what many people are concerned about are family and friends. Or, Brad, I know I'm okay. What about my family? What about my friends? What can I do for them? Is there anything I can do for them? Because they're so very much committed to this vaccination agenda. They're so very committed. They think the government's going to save them. What can I do to help? Well, I've talked about that. You're seeing them as you want them to be seen, right? You're creating a probable body with them. See the person in your life in the way that you want them to be seen. How would you like to see that person, right? How do you see your love towards that person? I see them happy. I see them smiling. I see them joyful. And that's how I continue to see them, right? So we're working with the probable body. We're working with the realignment method. We're seeing our mom, our dad, right? We think that they're, again, just so hell-bent in keeping this vaccination agenda alive in the family. But all I'm doing is I'm going into quiet meditation and I'm seeing my mom and my dad in their complete and total loving well-being. And that's how I'm treating them. So even though they have different beliefs than me, even though they're buying into the agendas, I'm not putting that intention forward with them. I'm seeing them as the person that I would love for them to be. And I see that right now with them. It's not something I'm seeing tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. I'm seeing that person as that loving being right here and right now because of the work I'm doing within. It's reciprocity, right? It's that feedback loop. It's that resonance. It's that sympathetic resonance that I'm creating. Because I'm cleaning myself up, because I'm working with myself a lot more deeper, because I'm going more into the right brain than the left brain. And through the right brain comes the healing. When I'm much more on the right brain by doing heart rate variability, by going into the alpha just by looking upwards, by working together with the peripheral pillars, and just discovering a spot right here in the middle of me, and just watching that energy move out to the peripherals and causing my eyes to dilate, I'm going into the right brain. So through my healing, through my meditation, through my inner work, I'm stimulating the right brain, and I'm now able to bring this healing to myself, and I'm now able to create these probable bodies for my friends and my family, and I am treating them as I see them inside my inner work. I'm seeing them as loving, compassionate, understanding, wonderful, and all of my feelings are completely behind that intention, and I'm putting that out. And now when I talk to them, I'm seeing them as that person. I don't care if they are supporting vaccination agendas. I don't care if they're supporting mandates. I see them as this beautiful being because I'm up here, and through my reciprocity, I may be able to help them to get up here, right? So it's all probability, but through yourself as the perceiver, you're the one that is telling yourself for sure, absolute certain, that this is the person that they are from how I've seen them inside, and that's how I treat them. That's it, right? Everybody, there is going to come a point where you're going to leave your physical body. There is going to come a point where your family, your friends, your co-workers, your acquaintances, and so forth are going to leave their physical body. Rather than dreading of that day, go inside and start to work with that reciprocity, work with that probable body. From now until the time that they decide to leave, and from the time that I decide to leave, I'm going to work with them with this loving compassion because I no longer just see them as a physical body. I'm seeing their heart. I'm seeing their soul. I'm seeing their spirit. And I'm treating them as such. So rather than me dreading and saying, oh no, my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister and my best friends have done all this and they've got into the mandates and they're all so crazy about it, etc., 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 right? And you can spend those days in worry And you can spend your days bouncing up and down like a ping pong ball. Oh my God, I have a good day. Oh my God, I have a bad day. Oh my God, I have a good day. Oh my God, I have a bad day. Right? Rather than doing that, go into yourself, right? Work with the right brain. Align yourself over here to my right. And now you're going in and you're healing everything. Okay? You cannot heal anything with a left brain mentality. You're not going to be able to heal your inner work, to heal your inner flaws, to heal your inner conflicts by staying in a left brain. There's a space for a left brain, but this is not what it entails. Not when you're doing your inner work. Okay? When we're doing physical work, yes, the left brain plays a part in it. But that's not what we're doing when we're going inner work. Inner work is not physical. Inner work is spiritual. It's energetic. It's emotions. It's thoughts. Right? We need to be over here. We need to be on the right side, my right side here. Your right brain. And like I said, heart rate variability. Okay? Going into the alpha. Working with the peripherals, dilating your eyes, and connecting deeper into the right brain is going to help you to get there. Because now you're going into that spaciousness. Now you're doing something like the BCR technique. It's helping and clearing everything out. And you are applying these new ways of looking at your family and friends by creating the probable body and reciprocating that through reciprocity, through sympathetic resonance. And that's how you're helping people, right? But you're helping yourself first. You're cleaning yourself up. And like I said, those of you who are already clean are well above this. You're not in that physical barrier. You're not in that bubble. You're not involved with the bottom feeders. You're up here. So rather than worry, resolve. Rather than being concerned, be compassionate. Rather than being in lack, be in love. And share that with your family. Share that with your loved ones. Share that with the people who you deeply care about. See them as the people that you want them to be. And using reciprocity to showing that that is how you see that person involved in your life. And that's the greatest support and the greatest help and the greatest assistance you can ever give. The Great Awakening is going to continue here for the next few years. It's not going to be a short-term thing. But through the nature of the Great Awakening, these agendas are going to expire. I've talked about the idea that I do not believe the COVID agenda is going to go anywhere past April of 2022, and that's for the entire world. And that's supported by many different facets, right? So again, it could even end even sooner. All just depends. We're actually starting to move much more into a very prosperous direction right now by seeing these things unfold. October is going to be intense. November is going to be intense. December is going to be intense. It's going to be intense right up into the end of the year. When we get into 2022, I've talked about that 2022 represents much more of a healing year. It's more of a rejuvenation year. Yes, there's intense things happening. Yes, there's going to be more exposures. Yes, there's going to be things that are going to be dismantled. But there's going to be a lot more opportunity for healing during that time as well. And I do not feel at all that the COVID agenda is going to go past the end of April of 2022. Okay? That's just my own personal feeling. I'm not sharing that as a prediction, but just as a feeling and just as a sharing because it corroborates together with other facets that support this as well. But nonetheless, regardless of looking at an end date, right here and right now is the most important time. To working together with your loved ones, to cleaning yourself out and working with that reciprocity as that physical person that you now see. Through all of this goodness that you have put into that person, you're treating them as such, right? And it's a wonderful thing to behold. I've done this, and it does help. It does work, right? Being able to see the goodness in a person, no matter how stubborn they may feel, it makes all the difference when you start working with the probable body and you start working with reciprocity in this way. And that is working through this time of Great Awakening. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Be well, and take care. Thank you very much for checking out the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And you can check out the websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can order a private session, 3 questions by email, EQ method, and a lot more. And you can also check out healingcodecards.com, where you can grab your mind deck, your body deck, and of course the brand new Body Deck Special Edition. All of these are available in digital editions as well. And you can also get a shirt just like this through healingcodeshop.com, where you can experience the healing codes in apparel form. So feel free to check out these websites. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Be well.